When you need to connect two fused silica capillary columns, a reliable connection is essential. Designed to deliver an inert, dead volume free connection that won't contribute to peak broadening and/or raising detection limits, the SilTite micro-union connector is the perfect tool for the job. In today's Restek Tip, we're going to look at how to install a SilTite micro-union connector, and we'll share some best practices to keep in mind along the way. First, let's take a look at the individual parts. Here we have the double taper ferrule and the male and female micro connector end fittings. Keep in mind the exact dimensions of the ferrules will need to correspond to your column's IDs, whether they vary or are both the same. The kit also includes a ferrule adapter tool with connection nut and two finger-type micro connector end fitting tools. The first step is to prepare the tools by screwing the connection nut onto the nut adapter tool and position the double taper ferrule into the connection nut. Now let's focus on the columns. If you are connecting columns with different IDs, always begin with the column with the larger ID. Since the larger ID column will not fit into the smaller ferrule opening, installing the larger column first ensures the correct end of the ferrule will be used for both columns. Start by sliding the male micro connector onto the column you wish to connect. Prepare the column by cutting a small part of it with the smooth side of a scoring wafer. A clean square cut is essential to minimize dead volume. Insert the column into the double taper ferrule and then screw the male micro connector end fitting into the connection nut. Make sure the column is seated inside the ferrule before finger tightening the end fitting. Then, slide the end fitting tool onto the column and place it on the male micro connector end fitting. Swage the ferrule by gradually tightening the male micro connector end fitting until the ferrule just begins to hold onto the column. Great, the ferrule is now fixed in place and will not slide off of the column. To attach the second column, first unthread the male end fitting from the connection nut and remove the end fitting tool. Now slide the female micro connector end fitting onto the second column. Trim the end of the column, ensuring it has a clean, square cut. Next, insert the column into the ferrule and screw the female micro connector end fitting into position. Make sure the column is seated inside the ferrule while gently tightening the connector. Slide both of the fitting tools over the column and place them on the end fittings. Swage the ferrule by gradually tightening the female micro connector end fitting until the ferrule just begins to hold onto the column. Then tighten a further 60 degrees. Finally, remove the fitting tools from the male and female micro connectors and the column. And it's as simple as that. That's how you connect fused silica columns using a SilTite micro union.